Okay, now we're going to be doing the assignment 4, and that is going to be the hardware store problem. And here it is. So we can see that we got lots of stuff here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the problem and put it into Notepad++. You should be using Notepad++. I have the link to that on the home page. And all you do is, I don't have it up here, you click on the executable. It works just like HTML kit. You double click on the executable and you get this. It keeps track of all your variables. So we need to have assumptions, input, calculations, output. All right, we always start with output. They want to see this. So I just come here and I copy this, paste it into output. Okay, so they want to see the original order. And I might just put AMT to make it a little more understandable. Amount of any discounts. So I'll do discount amount, AMT, subtotal, amount of tax, and the final bill. So this is the easiest part, especially if you copy and paste from the top. Okay, this is what they want out. Next thing is our assumptions, and that is going to be all the numbers up there. So we can see 3 types of discounts. So we have an EMP disc rate equals 0.10, that's 10%. And then we have a contractor discount, so a con disc rate equals 20%, 0.20. And then we have a order over $800. So we're going to call that an LG ORD, large order, disc rate equals 0.05%. Okay, so we got those discounts done. You see there's an 800. That's what makes this a large order. So we'll call that LG ORD cutoff, and that equals 800. We don't put the 800 in the name because if they change it to 1,000, the person looking at your code will have no idea where that 800 came from. So if they wanted to change it to 1,000, very easy for us to do. All we have to do is change it here, and the rest of our code works. But it doesn't make, it's kind of crazy if you do 800 cutoff or 800 disk rate, and then they change it to 1,000. It just doesn't make any sense. So we want to keep it generic with our names. What else do we have? And we have a 8% sales tax. So sales tax rate equals 0.08. And then we have a 90-year-old don't pay. So we'll have an old age cutoff equals 19. One thing I allow you to do is if you ask them, are you over 90? And they say yes, then they get the 0 sales tax. You can do that, or you can do it by the age. I'm going to do it by age. Them asking what their age is, and then or and then they type it in. All right, so that's all my numbers. So the next thing we need to do is figure out down here, are any of these input? And I have to ask them how much the order was. No way I can figure that out. So copy and paste. The rest of these, the discount, subtotal, tax, all that, is going to be calculations / logic. And then I just simply put equal signs next to each of these. And I start with the bottom and work my way up. All right, so final bill is pretty easy. And again, if you can't figure out the math, how did I get these numbers? So how did I get 100? Well, that's a bad one. How did I get 864? Well, subtotal plus the tax. 97, subtotal plus the tax. So subtotal plus the tax must be the math. All right, so that is subtotal. And you can see that because I'm using this, I don't have to worry about making a mistake on my variable names. Whoops. Tax. Okay, well, how do I figure out what the tax is? And the tax is, I'm going to take a look at here, the tax is 720. So 90 times 0.08. And here it is 800 times 0.08, and that's the tax. So pretty easy math. The math is simply the subtotal times the tax rate. Now I'm not using sales tax here, the 8%, because the tax rate can either be 0.08 or it could be 0. So I'll just use generic tax rate. Okay, then subtotal. If we take see what the subtotal is. I have 100 and I have a $10 discount. That's 90. I have 1,000 and a 200 discount. That's 800. So I'm just subtracting the original price from the discount. Again, it's easy if you take a look at my numbers. So it's original price, original order amount, minus the discount amount. And then the discount amount is simply the original order amount times the disc rate. All right, so we have 3 disc rates. So I'm just going to put a generic, whatever the disc rate is, I'm still going to multiply it by the original price. So now we're ready to get into, also, so I already have that. So now how do we figure out this disc rate? We have to figure that out. And that depends on the type of customer it is. So we're going to say that if contractor equals yes, then the disc rate is going to be equal to the contractor disc rate. So the question is, why did I do contractor first? Well, I did contractor first because that has the highest discount. If this is true, it'll give it the highest rate and not even evaluate the rest. What about this contractor equals yes? I have to ask a person if they're a contractor. So I'm going to come up here. That's got to be input. And it'll be contractor. And then what I'm looking for them to answer is either yes or no. I can't ask them what type they are, contractor, contractor, employee, or general, because who knows what the heck general is. And besides that, a person can be, as it shows here, an employee can be a contractor. So you can't ask them, are you this or that, when they can be both. That just confuses them because they say, I don't know the answer. All right, what if they're not a contractor? Then we say else, meaning they're not a contractor, if employee equals yes. So again, I have to have a question, employee, where they'll say yes or no to are you an employee? Right? If they say yes, then the disk rate is equal to the emp disk rate. Now I can't just say else everyone gets the rest of that because it's not true. Some people don't get a discount at all. So we have to do a third decision. Else if original order amount is greater than the large order cutoff. So if it's over $800, then they get a disk rate of the large order disk rate. But what happens if they don't get any of those? Then it's else disk rate equals 0. And you're probably going, oh my gosh, how can you do that? That's a number. Well, the only numbers we allow inside our calculations logic are 0 or known constants, like 12 inches in a foot, because they never change. And 0 never changes. So the last thing we need to do is determine now what the tax rate is. So if age is greater than the old age cutoff, then tax rate equals 0. Else tax rate equals sales tax rate. So that's one way of doing it. And I like this way because it's very descriptive. Another way you can do it is you can take this and copy it here. And then use this. So if their old age is over, then the sales tax rate is changed from 0.08 to 0. But we always still use the same sales tax rate. So either way is good. It's probably a little bit better because a little less confusing. All right, so this is a problem statement for assignment 4. Very good. And that is it.